Welcome to Creative Pages with Catherine Live. They changed the button on me. I was trying to get it worked out. What can I say? It is time for sketches number 5 through 8 from the September 2024 Worldwide Creative Memories virtual crop. And I am so excited to share with you several of the techniques and collections that all of you voted on this past week. Every virtual crop the week before, I have polls on my community tab to see which collections you would like the most. And in September, when we have the virtual crop, I add a few techniques and other things just to get a feel for what you all would like to see and learn more about. Yesterday, we had several punches. We talked about the differences between the border punch and the frame punch, as well as a few other things. And today we have circle cutter, envelope and bow creator, border maker system, zero centering ruler, and I'm not sure what else you voted on, but there's some more coming today, and tomorrow I don't think I'll be on. So I'll talk about that a little bit more at the end. Right now, let's get into sketch number 8. No, 5. Let's get into sketch number 5. Okay. Here we are. Let me get myself over here so I don't knock into the garbage can, hopefully, but we'll see what happens. We have a lot going on here because the sketch has a lot going on. Look at all this. We're going to be featuring a Border Maker cartridge demo. We're also going to see some vellum. This is our Autumn Cottage collection, so it's going to be perfect for fall. I do have my size of my vellum, my other things that you're going to see on this page. And for the base of both sides of this layout, we are going to use the plaid, which I don't know about you, but a lot of times I tend to shy away from the plaids, but I think it just worked this time. It has kind of the, I don't know, the brush stroked blue and browns on the back side. And then I've also pulled a scrap I had of our hot fudge cardstock and also a piece of our beige cardstock, which we're going to talk about that in just a little bit as well, because I've used a blade for a 12-inch trimmer that I don't use very often on that one. And I thought, you know what, while I'm talking about techniques and things, let's talk about some of our other blades as well. Okay. This is our paper holder part for our border maker system. It is magnetic on the top to help hold your paper in place. However, it has this tray in the bottom. To release the tray from the bottom, you see right here, there's a notch in the opening. And so you're going to pull down on that. It has a little bit of a ridge on it. So you pull down on it and you bring it up. And then you lift up on your magnetic part, you slide your paper in, you line it up in the tray, because remember how yesterday we had the little tray on our punches? Well, this tray also has a little bit of a lip on it to help catch our paper so it doesn't go any further than that. Hold it in place, and then you're going to take that same tray by the notches and fold it back under so that way you have access to your paper. And you can see we have notches on this side here. That is going to help us line up our border maker cartridge, which goes into our punch holder here. This is the other part to our border maker system. And we are going to be using our Rustic Fence border maker cartridge first. This one is one of our Edge border maker cartridges, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. So here's the close-up of Rustic Fence first. And I also pulled out our Pyramid Keyhole border maker cartridge as well. This one is one we're also going to use on this page, but it also shows a little bit better about our Edge border maker cartridges. So when you look at the metal side of our cartridges, if it has the metal kind of connected to the housing, then typically that's the part that'll stay with your paper. I've also pulled out mirrored scallop chain and our confetti. So we're going to look at these three side by side a moment. I'm going to move this over. So pyramid keyhole is one of our edge ones. Mirrored scallop chain is a chain border maker cartridge. When you flip it over, you can see there's no metal at the top, there's no metal at the bottom. This is what's going to stay with our paper. The center portion, which is the design, that's what makes it a chain border maker cartridge. And then finally, we have one of our punch out border maker cartridges. This is the confetti border maker cartridge. And when you flip this one over, you can see, hey, look at that. This all stays with the paper and it punches out the little star, the little squiggles, and the circles. And so all these things come off the paper, and that you kind of just wind up with these little, like a paper with just these little holes in it with the pieces of the metal that have come out from your paper. I hope this helps to explain the difference between the types of cartridges to you all. And our decorative border punches are very similar. You can, again, turn those over, look at the metal. You can see which one's a chain, which one's an edge, which one's a punch out, just by looking at the mechanism inside. So that is my, I guess, quick talk about punches. I need to get them off my desk so that way I can actually get our rustic fence punched here. So now when you go to punch with your border maker, a lot of the time you automatically kind of want to start from one end or the other. And that's really kind of how I started as well. But I am actually going to start in the middle. I've learned later that it's actually you won't, I guess, get stuck as much, if you will, if you actually start in the middle. There's a notch on the housing here. Let's see if I can actually get the camera to pick that up. There's a little, you can see that little piece of plastic here, right kind of almost through the middle of the creative memories. And that notch here is what lines up with the notch that's poking out from the top of our paper holder. So you can see there's these little punch outs here as well on the plastic. We're going to line those up, and that essentially helps to seat your punch, because otherwise if you're not lined up, you're kind of fumbling around out here in space a little bit. But if you line these two up, it seats in nicely, and you punch. All right. And then you work your way up or down on your paper. A lot of people also will punch and then completely take the punch out, or the border maker cartridge out. I find that it usually works reasonably well to just scoot it down from the middle. And yep, it's a little bit loud. This is why I don't usually do the punching while I'm on camera with you all. To eject your cartridge from your holder, you push this button. Sometimes you do need to help it, and just you run your finger underneath to put it in. You make sure your metal tabs are sticking out, and it just slides right in. It secures. So again, coming out, push the button, and if you want, you can actually put your finger in there and just help it along. Usually you don't need to do that, but I thought I would mention it just in case. So now you can see our punched out piece. We do need to cut this on our trimmer because, again, it was an edge border maker cartridge. It stays with the paper. So let me pull out my trimmer, because then we're going to also punch actually, let's go ahead and punch our pyramid keyhole, because we can do that from this opposite end, and then all I have to do is trim once. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up that tray again. I'm opening up my magnet that holds my paper in place. Let's go ahead and get this done. Move some of our confetti out of the way here. Slide in my cartridge. And let's go ahead and get this punch. Okay, there we go. So pyramid keyhole, that one did need a little bit of assistance coming out. No big deal. And it just came right out. Let's go ahead and lift the magnet, get my paper out, shake out any little extra confetti. So I'm going to go ahead and store my border maker again. Okay, we're going to need that again in just a little bit. I probably shouldn't put too far. I'll put it up here. Oh no, I'll forget. Okay. I don't know about y'all, but does anybody else use a pan lid holder to help store some of their tools? I know that's something that I've recently started to do, and it just really helps out. I don't know if anybody else does that, but it's really helpful to have your tools close at hand. Just makes it nice. Whoops. I'm losing the pyramid keyhole little confettis there. All right, stick my placemat aside there, and let's see where we're going to cut this at, because I actually didn't write myself a note about this just because I knew I wanted to eyeball it after punching. So we're going to just take a look and see, do we want just a little bit under these keyholes, or do we want a little bit more? So this is my 1.25 inches on my trimmer. I think that's what we're going to cut this one at, 1.25 inches. For the pyramid keyhole, you can tell it was a scrap of cardstock because it's curling a little bit on me, but we're just going to go ahead and go with our straight blade here. So that's cut at 1.25 inches, and we have our really nice pyramid keyhole. That is going on this side of our layout, and now I just went ahead and flipped this over, and let's see. You know what, we might do 1.25 inches. No, we're going to do let's do a little bit more. Let's do 1.5 inches on this one. Okay. So 1.5 inches on our fence. I'm just going to the top point of the fence post on this. And so I have just a little bit more. I didn't push down hard enough on my trimmer for that one, but that's okay. Paper crafting. Use your scissors. Makes life so much easier. All right. So I still have another little scrap of our hot fudge cardstock, but there we go. That is the rustic fence at 1 inch and, what did I say, 1.5 inches on that one? Yep, 1.5 inches and 1.25 inches. I can add those to our sheet, but I won't because you all are paying attention, right? If not, you can replay the video. So this one's going to go up here. Now, one other thing I want to talk about real quick while I have my 12-inch trimmer out, just because we are going to be talking about a different blade. So there's storage on the underside of our 12-inch trimmer. You can see I have an extra cutting mat under here, and I have all the blades under here as well. We are actually going to be working with our perforating blade, which is, again, something I don't use all that often, but I just thought it felt right for this layout. So a lot of times when I use, any of our crinkly blades, so for example, the stamping, the decal, the scallop, or the wave blade, I will actually change my cutting mat. So for example, here I'm on number 4 of my cutting mat, and I will just flip it over and switch it to number 3. So that way when I'm cutting with the crinkly blade, it's cutting into a mat that I've already, chewed up using the straight blade. And then I'll just switch it back to the number 4 when I'm putting back in my straight blade. The housing for the blades just pops up and your blade comes out. A lot of times the rule of thumb is if you're changing your blade, when you're using one of your crinkly blades, the Creative Memories logo goes with the Creative Memories wording on your trimmer. Try it out that way. It's a good rule of thumb to have. And always have an index sheet around. When I talk about an index sheet, I mean one of these sheets that comes with your paper pack, just to kind of test things out. So if you'll remember our Full of Wonder collection last night, I tested out our decorative trimmer on an index sheet before I did it on my shimmer cardstock, because it's basically it's a free sheet of cardstock or a free sheet of paper that you get with every paper pack. You might as well keep these, save them, use them for testing out designs, or checking your blades, because you need to cut off that little bit and you want to know what's going to stay with the paper and what isn't, which side of the paper you'll need to load it when you're doing it, if you have to flip it or not. All those things are good to know. So my quick 12-inch trimmer talk today. Let's see now. Let's actually bring back in our left side of the page. Here's my beige cardstock, and this is where I used my perforating blade. So I am actually just going to go ahead and fold this sheet. I did cut it twice at 2 3/4 of an inch by 12 inches. And I'm just going to go ahead, and this is essentially another kind of way of tearing your paper. You can leave some of these perforations on your layout if you want. So when you cut it, I don't know, you can see how the edge looks a bit rougher than what it normally does. And so here I can see it. I don't know if it's showing. There it is. So you can see that little indentation and the slotting through the paper that the perforating blade puts on the paper. And that kind of actually makes an interesting look for your eye to see on an actual layout. So if I wanted to use this beige sheet as the base of my layout, I could, with the actual perforation indentures in it. But for today's purpose, I'm not. I'm using it on my actual layout, and I'm using the 2 3/4 of an inch by 12 inches. I'm going to just, it makes it really nice to just fold it and tear it apart. And then I also did take at the end, because sometimes we do have to pay attention to these little details. The end of our cardstock is typically straight and flat, if you will, whereas by putting that little perforation into it, it makes it a little bit more edgy. It makes it a little bit more torn looking, if you will. And I mean, we did have a tearing tool come out a couple years ago, but not everybody has that. So I thought this is just another way to kind of give your paper a rougher look without having to work too hard to do it. Just use your 12-inch trimmer. So this is going to go across the bottom of our page. I have our vellum. So the Autumn Cottage collection has different colors. It's almost like a tonal vellum that comes with this collection. And this is more of the mustard. It's like a mustardy yellow color. And we're going to pair that over here. We're going to use another piece on the other side of our layout. And make sure I'm getting this lined up, because this is where we're going with this. We also have these, layered borders that we're going to use as well across our page. So this is going to be up a little bit from the bottom. This is going to be up here. And then our fence is going to come in behind our border, just to add a little bit of extra interest, because the other side already has a fence. That's where we're using our pyramid keyhole. What do you think? I'm on the right track, right? Let's hope I'm getting these around the right place. Let me find my tape runners. This is going on the other side of the page, so I can take that off my desk. Let me go ahead and start here. And that's actually, I will say, the one nicest thing is the first layout is always the most surprise for all of you now, because I can actually pull it apart a little bit like I used to with my other ones when I was just doing one at a time. But this time, now I've started to do 4, you all get to see a little preview of where we're going with the layouts a little bit more. Grab my border mat here, my silicone mat, to use my repositionable tape on my rustic fence, so that way my tape won't show. I'm going to go to stick it down. Here we go. This is going to go towards the top here. and down just a little bit. Oh my goodness. Somehow, between the time I punched it and came out, I lost another hair. Too much stress this summer, I think. Here we go. Okay. And then this is just going to come in and be right there in front of our fence. So let's get some regular tape runner going on here. Oops. And let me not risk that one. I'm going to just do that. Use just a little bit of repositionable tape on our pumpkin sign because it's a little bit more delicate. And we're going to leave about 1/4 of an inch above the bottom of our beige cardstock here. Let's run this across. Here we go. And how is that looking? Hopefully not too shabby here, and I will definitely hold it up as we get closer. I have my vellum tape runner. I don't know about y'all, but since most of our tape runners come with the blue holders, I do label anything that I have in a blue holder with a Sharpie, so that way I know which tape runner is which, just looking at it, make my life easier. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of our vellum tape runner here. And I do have that short still that shows the difference between all the tape runner types. I probably need to update it because I didn't talk about the burnishing at the time, but make sure this is not going quite all the way to the edge. And there we go. Okay, so we're going to push that down, and I'm just going to go ahead and show you all real quick. You can see the tape through it. It's a little bit harder. There's a piece of tape there. It's a little bit harder with this, the pattern behind it, but I am going to grab my bone folder. This is something else that we just don't have available anymore, but it makes it quicker for me to do this, especially when we're live. And now you can see the tape is much more minimized than what it was a moment ago. You can use your multi-purpose tool as well if that's what you have. Use what you have. All right, I have 2 of our, I believe this is the 4.5 by 6.5. This is what happens when 4.5 by 6.5 mats. Both of these have more of the aqua plaid on it. Back sides are here kind of with more of the watercolor-ish look to it. We are going to put these here, kind of offset from our vellum a little bit. Let me make sure I get my placement here. We have this word card that's going to come in from the top, kind of centered, but not quite all the way centered. And then I have a few stickers that you'll kind of can already see in my embellishment tray here. So let me move these out of the way. Let's go ahead and flip this one first and get our word card down first, since that's going to go underneath, and we don't have to see every word on the card. Okay. And there we go. Just like I said, I wanted it a little bit more offset. I've got maybe 1.25 inches. Let's see here. I will measure just in case for you all. About 1 inch and 1/8. It's between 1/8 and 1/4. How's about that? Go ahead and grab some tape runner for the larger mats. The word mat is one of our smaller mats. It is the 4x6 mat. You do get 2 sizes of mats in your mat packs, which make it easy to kind of distinguish a little bit on our layouts here. So there's our first mat going down here, and our second one is going to come over here just a little bit. There we go. All right. Now let's get some stickers going. We have, let's make sure I haven't missed anything. I need to look at my cheat sheet a moment here. Okay. We have quite a few stickers we're going to put on. We have the blanket with the thermos, and then we've got this warm mug that we're going to create a little cluster out of. And we already talked about sticker clustering yesterday, so if you missed that one, you're going to have to go back. But we did more of an embellishment cluster still. It's a similar concept. I just placed the cup on top of our blanket just to make it a nice little feature to the corner of our page here. I have our Autumn Adventures sticker as well, and this one is going to go at the top of the page on the foam squares that I found my whole sheet for, which was nice because yesterday I was on the struggle bus a little bit with the foam squares. Here we go. And so much easier when you have all your sizes on one sheet, just works out so much nicer. And I think I do have a short also that talks about the different sizes of foam squares as well. So I've actually done quite a few short. I've got plenty of content on my channel. There we go. So Autumn Adventures is at the top, and then we are going to add a couple of leaves. So I pulled out one of the star anise, star anise. Some people call it anise, some people call it anise. It's star shaped and it is a spice. So a lot of times it's in like chai tea and things along those lines, also in Indian and some Chinese cuisine. And I'm going to tell you about that because I am also a chef and a food technologist. I have a very strong food background, so I love that we actually have a little bit of food in our autumn cottage sticker kit here. Okay, and this one's going to come up this way just a little bit. So our leaves falling through our page with our star anise. And there we go. The left side of the page is done. What do y'all think? If you have any questions, just type them in the chat. If you have any comments, I look up in between a little bit, but I definitely will answer more of the questions once we have both pages done. Since I am doing 4 pages, I want to make sure I get through everything here. So here are my other 2 3/4 beige perforated cardstock. Our pyramid keyhole are going to go over here because that's going to go on first. You can see I've got a couple more larger mats with plaid, a couple more leaves. So it goes with our other side of the page, as well as a couple other more decorative mats on this side of the page, and another piece of vellum. So let's start with our beige. No, we're going to have to start with the vellum. Okay, let's start with our vellum. How's about that? Sometimes it's good to know what we need to do here. I am covering up the vellum just a little bit. Oops. Okay. Give me until I don't use this tape runner all the time. It is not every collection has vellum, so I feel like it's one of those things that we don't really use a ton, but when we use it, it's nice to have because it adds such a really interesting almost like a little window accent on our page here. I'm gonna go over and burnish that real quick again. I'm going to need this again later too. I'll just leave that there. And then let's go ahead and I'm going to measure this with the other side of the page so that way my borders are going to run through about the same placement on the 2 pages. So let's move this up. Let's move this over and bring this back in. There we go. Okay, line you up. Looks like my measurement was just slightly off as well with my 2 3/4. Some of those things you don't notice until you do, but I don't think anybody else is going to notice it, so it'll be our secret. Shh, don't tell anybody. Catherine's measurement was slightly off. What can I say? I think I've said it before. I'm human. We're all human. We all make those. It's funny how the eye picks up those things after But I was kind of tired last night. I definitely wound up being a long time just getting those all designed. We had met a friend for lunch yesterday in York, which was really nice. I'd never been to York, Pennsylvania before, that I remember, anyways. And so that was lovely to get together with old friends. I don't want to say old. I should. What should I say? Old friends? I don't know. I'll say friends that we had from previous a place that we lived in Virginia. So here we go. How's about that? Let me get my foot out of my mouth here, huh? And I thought I was punchy last night. I don't think I'm too punchy today. It's just sometimes when you're doing all these, you have to have things to talk about too, right? And share a little bit about. Okay, so here we go. You can see how our pyramid keyhole is just going to give us a really interesting extra element on our border here. I want to, okay, bring this in again because the keyhole doesn't matter as much exactly where it is because we're just going to see parts of it, but I do want to try to line up our actual borders here because you can see this one is the continuation of this. And so yes, we will cover up part of our keyholes, but you also see them peeping out from behind the fence. And so you might ask me, Catherine, why didn't you do the rustic fence all the way across? Well, because the fence that's already here kind of looks almost like our rustic fence a bit. And I wanted it to look, oops, just a little bit different and give a different effect because, of course, the borders are both a little bit different too. And so this is like, it just gives a different look to it. You can, I have seen where people have taken the border makers and you can punch every other one. So I could have done like part rustic fence and part pyramid keyhole on both sides, and maybe I'll do that on a future layout. If you would like to see that, leave me a comment. Let me know how to mix up the border maker cartridges on one sheet of cardstock, and I'll be happy to demo that. But for this one, I just thought, let's try it. Sometimes, like I was saying yesterday, I have an idea of how these are going to turn out, but especially with this virtual crop here, there's several of these that I was like, oh, well, we'll try it and see how it comes out because I couldn't actually piece together the whole page because I knew I was going to demo the border maker. I knew I was going to talk about the perforating blade piece. So there's a lot that I've been talking about a little bit more this virtual crop that I don't always do with the other virtual crops. And like I said, if you want me to give you all a little bit more of the techniques in the future, just again, drop a comment and let me know. This gold plaid is half of one of our 4.5 by 6.5 mats. I did cut it in half. I thought it added an extra little element. The plaid works with all of the other plaids we have on our layout here. And I really just thought it was a nice touch. I'm going to stick our journal box a little bit under. This is one of our 4 by 6 mats. It's the one that has the lines going across here with the pumpkins on it. I just also, that brings in more of our pumpkins from the other side of the page as well. This is going to come in underneath. Okay. I think I did want it the other way, but now that I am doing it, I'm going to put it under this side. In fact, I am going to leave it under like that. Okay, originally I was going to have it going the other way, but I kind of like it like this. We're going to do it this way. Again, kind of loosely designed. Going in, I think I know what it's going to be, but sometimes things change. Our 2 plaid, these are also 4.5 by 6.5 mats. This is the lighter blue or the blue-green color on the mats, and this is just going to be right up against here. Oh, here it is. Okay, that's what I wanted to do with this. It's like I knew I had some of the vellum showing. I'm like, why put the vellum on the page if you can't see it, Catherine? And we probably could have just used a strip of vellum, but if you do a smaller mat, you can do a smaller strip of vellum. I'm going to put this underneath here just a little bit. I think I placed my beige strip a little bit higher than I originally anticipated, again, in my rough rendering of what I was thinking of what I was going to do. So bluish greenish, and then it's essentially the same mustardy yellow that's our vellum is. So we're bringing back in that color. I have a couple more star anise. There's one that's a little bit larger and one that's a little bit smaller. The slightly smaller one is going to go on this side over here, kind of in between where our two mats are. And you know what? These are 4.5 by 6.5 mats. Our photos are typically 4 by 6, so I'm okay that they're over each other because it gives us, you're going to do probably 2 horizontal photos, but with this little star anise over here, it's not going to interfere with your photos at all. I have another one that's going to go up here. And again, we can put the photos, you can lift this if you want using your multi-purpose tool, or put a foam square under it, but I'm not going to this time. And then I have 2 other leaves that we're just going to add again as well, just kind of coming through our page a bit, coming through our journal box here, adding a little bit of interest in color, repeating our theme from the other side of our page. That should go with our photos once we get our photos on our page as well. So here we go. Thank you all for sticking with me through. There we go. Getting it focused. I just have to remember to move slowly so the camera can focus as well. And you can see that little star anise over the vellum and over the seam of those 2 mats. I'm going to bring back in the other page, and then I'll bring in our sketch, and you can let me know if you have any questions. Okay. We just need to move that tray out of the way for now. Oh, it has come in handy. All right. What do y'all think? I really like how it all kind of just pulled together, and it seems to really just work out nicely. You can see the little bits of vellum here and there, the extra little mat that brings back in that mustard color. And of course, this is why I picked the blanket, because if you've watched my channel at all, you know I'm a little funny about color as well. Okay, I was pulling out my piece of cardstock and not my actual sketch for you all. The sketch. So here's the sketch. You can see where they have this extra. They have the title here, and instead I decided to put the mat here, a couple of photos here, 3 photos here, and a journal book. So I did kind of follow the sketch double borders as well as the extra piece behind, but they did 2.5 and I did 2 3/4, and I decided to use the perforating blade. So there we go. What do y'all think? Photos, easily here. I mean, you could cover up your leaves a bit if you have more horizontal photos instead of the vertical photos. You can easily put a larger horizontal photo here and then just journal down here above your little pumpkins. And you obviously have options with your other mat as well. So I like to let you all know options for your photos. I definitely don't color in the lines, so you don't have to just do one there. I'd like to share options for you all too. Who's ready for sketch number 6? I'm going to need to grab a quick drink of water in just a moment here too. Sketch number 6 is with the Birthday Bonanza collection. That was another one that was voted on. And I need to put this up here so I can see what all I have going on. Oh yes, this one is going to be, we're going to talk about both the circle cutter and the envelope and bow creator on this one. But first, here's our, whoops, sorry about that, got a little too close there. Here's our sketch. And here's kind of where we're going with it. Let me move the right side out of the way. This is not exactly, these are our rough things here. Okay. With our birthday bonanza collection, we have a lot of the papers are really bright in this collection, and I know, gosh, it's just so bright. I love a lot of it. I just this one I wanted to be a little bit more muted, and I brought in the border stickers to give us a little bit more of that bright highlight. So we're sticking more in the blue green family with this one. We have a page that has the blue fans that had this like grid on the back of it, if you will. We're going to be using our candle border sticker and our um, starburst border sticker that kind of looks like the fans. Go figure. You know, the designers do think when they do these things. Let me move my foam squares into my tray so I can just put my tray back up here. We've got some stickers that are going to be coming in, and these I did cut from our blue fan paper. These are 4x6 mats. So again, bright on the back side of that one. Talk about this in just a little bit, and we are going to use the 4x6 I hope all your wishes come true mat from our mat pack as well. But we're going to start with a sheet of avocado cardstock. How's about that? It's been a little bit since I've used the avocado. I actually really like this color. It's got a lot of possibilities with it. But let me try. I'm grabbing my collection with my mat here. Let me get my little non-skid thing down here so I can pull in my cutting mat. And we are going to cut a circle. I've already cut one, as you can see, using our circle cutter. I just wanted to go ahead and I figured this is one of those things that once you see it, usually you have it. I don't think I need to demonstrate this one twice. But on our circle cutter, this is what it looks like. We have our little button that'll help hold our paper in place. It has this little black surface that keeps it from sliding on the paper, but you also do push down to help it stay in place. We have two lines of measurements on here. The bottom one is in inches, and that is where you figure out how big of a circle you want to make. So for my circle, I went 4.2 inches. So I went to the 4, and then I went to the second line after the 4 because the circle cutter is in decimals, not in fractions the way our 12-inch trimmer is, and our, a lot of times we do things in fractions, so like 1 1/4, 1 1/2, not with the circle cutter. The top line is for, actually, that's something else maybe I'll demo another day. You can put one of our Creative Memories dual tip pens in this other end, and then that'll let you know how large of a circle you're drawing with your pen, and that you would just measure going the opposite direction essentially. So your blade is here. It's housed in this little front part. You can see it does have a little blade holder. You can open it up and see it if you want right here. It looks a lot like our 12-inch trimmer blade. And you see, it even has the little logo on it. How cute is that? So that's your circle cutter blade. They do sell replacements. You want to make sure it isn't in shut firmly there. When you place your circle cutter on your paper, your blade, it kind of, where the place where you want to eyeball is like kind of just inside of this little knob that I just pushed down to release the blade, if you will. So when you're eyeballing it to make sure your blade's going to land on your paper, kind of use this as your frame of reference just inside of here. Maybe that's one of those details that's maybe a Catherine that's a little bit too much for somebody else, but for me, it's helpful to know that I'm actually going to be on my paper. I'm not going to go off of it. I'm going to get a little closer to here. So that way I know I am saving some extra paper here. And then I can do more circles later. So I'm just kind of moving it around. You don't really have to, you can push down on your plunger a little bit just so that way you can make sure when you're going to make it. Yeah, okay. So I am pushing down on the blue plunger. Remember, that's the thing that had that black gripper on the bottom of it. And then on this other round knob here, there's this little white, um, I don't know whether to call it a button or a release maybe. So you can see where you can push it on it between your two fingers here. So you need both hands to use the circle cutter. You're pushing on the blue plunger here to hold your paper in place. Hold your circle cutter to keep it from moving so it will cut your circle. And then you're pushing in on this white release here. And then you're just going to, you might need to switch hands. Keep that button pushed in. You want to go all the way around. And there we go. And I kind of go over it a couple of times just, in case, since I know sometimes with my trimmer, I'm not always good about pushing hard enough. On this one, it's hard not to push hard enough. But you can see we wound up with our perfect circle, if you will. But our 4.2-inch circle, I guess. And it's exactly the same as the one I did before. So there you go. There is a hack out there with the circle cutter too to do multiples, and maybe I'll show you that one another day as well. If you want to see it, let me know. Leave me a comment. Where are we now? We've done the circle cutter. Oh, envelope and bow. Okay. I knew there was something else that I needed to do with this one. Might as well get all of the teaching out of the way while I'm teaching, right? Okay. So envelope and bow creator. This is what it looks like. It is currently back for a limited time. And I don't know how long it's going to be back for. Home Office just released some more craft papers to use with this to create your envelopes. And we can do that maybe another day as well. I have done envelopes in the past. You can search my channel for that. I've also done a box on this envelope and bow creator just to give you all another function for this. There's several little like gift boxes that you can make with it. For this particular layout, we are going to do a 1-inch bow. So when I looked at it, the 1-inch bow is either extra small or small. So there's a whole little chart on here that tells you essentially exactly how to make your bow using this piece of equipment or this tool. So you look at your paper width, and so I see 1 here, 1.25. No, I knew I wanted 1. And I decided to do a little bit of a longer paper length. Instead of doing the extra small, I'm just doing the small bow. So I went ahead and I cut 3 1-inch strips because since I was going to do the 8-inch paper length, really, when you have 8 inches, you only have 4 inches left. And for our B piece of paper, we need 4.25. So the B piece is this piece that goes underneath your bow. Let me hold it closer so you all can see what I'm actually looking at. This B piece here. So this is A and this is B. And that's what's going to go under our bow. And so that one, I actually wanted it a little bit longer. So I did mine at 4.5 instead of 4.25, just so that way it pokes out a little bit more from behind my upper bow. And then I also did a little bit longer for my C piece. The C piece is 1/4 inch, and so it is 1/4 inch wide, but I did that by 4 inches, and then I cut it in half at 2. So essentially what I did was I took one of my extra 4-inch pieces I had from cutting the 8 inches. So I have my 8-inch bases, and then my 4.5-inch by 1-inch pieces for my B piece. And then I just took a little 1/4-inch strip off of this. I took my scissors and I cut it in half. So there we go. That's that for that. Felt like a lot. It kind of is. Let me grab my punch mat back out here again because this tool does have a punch on the top of it. And for this, we need to punch it on the edges. And there's a line here that runs through the middle between these two ends here. And you're going to take your end part of your longer strip, your 8-inch strip, and you're going to put that just up to the line and you're going to punch it. And then you're going to scoot it over. Oops, I didn't punch hard enough. That's okay. I'm going to punch this other one. There we go. That one got hard enough. Let me grab my scissors because we can fix it with our scissors. There we go. Just catching that little end. Okay. Scissors can go back. And then we're going to take the other end as well. And we're doing one of these for each side of our page. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and do our ends first. And this is on, so there's a notch punch and a corner punch on this. And this is the notch punch side. And the diagram tells you what to use. And then we're going to take this 8-inch strip, we're going to fold it in half, just so that way we have a good idea of where our center is of our piece of paper. We're going to line that up with our line. Go ahead and put it in again. And there we go. We're just going to run it through the punch again to get the base for our little bow here. Look at that. And one more. Folding this one, lining it up. You can take it and, do a measurement, take your pencil, put a mark. If you really want, that's up to you. I am a fan of, let's just make it as easy as we can for ourselves. If it's not perfect, it's okay. It's homemade. So there are all of our pieces for that one. So it looks just like the one on the tool here. And then we're going to go ahead and punch our B piece as well. And with this one, we do use the notch punch on every side, essentially, of this. The way to center your ends of this one in the middle is you kind of watch your line and you watch where so as you can see, mine's not perfect. It's not exactly in the middle, but it's okay. It's hard to get it exactly. Again, unless you want to mark it, and you can fold that and do it that way. I'm going to do a little fold on this one, and that actually worked out pretty close. All in all, it didn't look even to the eye when I first did it, but now it looks pretty good. So we're just going to go ahead and keep on notching our piece of paper here. And there's our bottom for our bow, our larger piece. Fold it. So I find it's better if you punch it first and then fold it, because I don't think it actually takes off from the edge, but it's easier for me. I don't know. You can fold it whenever you want. Do what you want. It's your bow. I'm just sharing how I do it. How's about that? There we go. So that's my bow. We've got a whole little pile of confetti again. Oops. And I should have picked up the entire placemat because, of course, I missed part of the trash can. All right. So now we have our strips. Let's go ahead and get our bow put together. Put this in my little pan lid holder. That way it's out of my way, off my desk. And I need to grab my precision point adhesive. I have a little scrap of an index sheet here that I'm going to work on as well, just to make life easier so I don't get glue on my desk. Now we're going to take these two ends and we're going to fold them in. And can you use tape runner? Absolutely. But I find it's just easier to use the precision point adhesive. You just, you kind of squeeze on this part and the glue will come out. It comes out blue and then it dries clear. And it dries really quickly. You'll see. Of course, now I've got to hold it a moment, but we're going to just keep going here. Let's probably do this while you're drying. There's it already? Yep, it's already, oh, nope, I thought it was already holding. Okay, it's usually pretty quick. Let's just put that there. And we go with this next one. I mean, it was almost dry. What can I say? So I don't know. Cap on, not cap on. Either way. It doesn't, I mean, it dries quickly. Okay, I'm going to have to re-glue that side. Because the first side stuck, the second side did not. Hang on, we need a little glue up here is what the issue is, I think. There we go, because that's going over the top of the other side. That's going to happen here on this side as well. So there you go. You can tell it's been a little bit since I've made a bow, huh? There we go. Okay, does anybody have a story they want to tell while Catherine's here holding bows while we're live streaming? How's about I go ahead and flip this so that way that side's going to be down. Oops, you can see I didn't quite get that lined up as nicely as I wanted, so we're going to keep it so this other end is up. We're going to go ahead and do it this way. I'm going to go ahead and stick that down. You can see that other one's already sticking. There we go. Place this on here. And you can see why I did it a little bit longer is so that way my ends will stand out a bit. And now I'm just going to run a little bit of glue along this middle point of the paper, my little 1/4-inch strip that I did at 2 inches. And we're going to run that over. And of course, I just got glue all over my finger. But, you know, it's fun. It's part of the fun of the whole thing, right? There we go. So, I mean, it doesn't matter that I'm crooked in the back because we're just going to cut that little extra tab off. So you can see where I kind of crossed it over a little bit there. Okay, and I'll get my scissors in a minute for that. I'm sticking to everything in creation here on my desk. But hey, our bows are going to stay together forever because this stuff is awesome. It just holds really well, which is why I'm using it because it's quick and it holds really well. We're going to center this other one on our piece here. Let me know if I'm going too fast for you all, but hopefully not. I mean, it's paper crafting. It's not rocket science. Just add a little glue strip here. Let it stick to your finger. Okay, try not to stick your entire finger in it like I just did. Let's see if I have enough on here so it'll hold. Yep. Hang on. Come here. This is going to go over and down just a little bit. Fold this under. And this under. Oops. Okay, nope, sticking to my fingers. And having a baby wipe on hand the next time you make bows is not going to be a bad thing. Again, you can tell it's been a little bit since I've done this. We had them last year for a while, and then that's when I did the boxes, and then they sold out, and now they're back. So, okay, I added just that little bit more to my bottom here, but you can see the bow is holding nicely. I will cut that piece off when my glue dries, and you can see where my ribbon sticking out from the bottom of my bow is just a little bit longer than what it recommended. Like I said, I did 4.5 instead of 4.25 by the 1 inch, and that just really worked for me. Okay, so bows are done. This can go. This can get off of my desk. Those were my extra scraps from cutting, so might see those on another layout later. We are going to save one for the right-hand side of our page. We're using one on the left-hand side. We're going to let them dry. Let's bring in our cardstock and get this layout put together. Okay. What are we doing here? Okay, circle. We have this here. We have these coming in, and then we have our lined paper. So this is going to be actually up against the edges here. And my white paper is going to be at the bottom. So one of the other things I didn't know if you all knew, and I'm not sure if the camera, yes, it is a little bit picking that up, but if you can see, this little piece of paper has lines already on it. So if you search my Creative Memories website for white lined notebook paper, you will find the lined paper that you can use as a journal box on any page you have. A lot of times I use the journal mats, or I'm sorry, the mats, because they're easy and I love the mats so much. But for this particular page, I decided to pull in the white lined paper because that's what made sense for this, what I had. Our circle is going to go over it a little bit, and our mats are coming in here and here. So I need to figure out where this one's going to go best. Maybe a little bit more that way. Okay, so that one has to be placed first. Tape runner and get that placed down. Make sure it's still on the page because you're going to have a page protector that's going to need to go over your page. These are the two 4x6 mats that I cut with that blue fan paper. And I'm kind of sort of following the angle, but not as well. These are actually going to be slightly different angles, which creates just a little bit of a different look for the page as well. A lot of times we have our mats on the page so linear. This one really was a bit different as far as the sketch and the sketch. And you could kind of see where we had one going here and one going here, and they layered them all in just a really tight cluster here on our sketch. I'm spacing it out just a little bit more, but I think it still works. Now we're going to add our, let's see, oh, look, I even wrote down what I needed to do, and I didn't even follow it, but that's okay. I kind of followed it. So with this starburst sticker, there's a starburst on one end, and then there's kind of a flatter end to it. So I'm putting the starburst more at the top and the flatter end more to the bottom. And this is going to run across the left side of our page, pretty much over as far as you can get it, going up our page. And yes, it's going to go over our mat. And then we have our birthday candle border sticker as well, and that's going to go across the top of our page here. And like I said, these just are adding in a little bit of extra of that pop of color. Well, I guess that's where it's going. It's a good thing I got it reasonably straight the first time because it started sticking before I was ready. And then we have a couple of extra stickers here that we're going to add as well. We have the blue star that looks a lot like our fans, and that's going to go over here on the edge. I'm going to pop this one up on a foam square, just because I think that makes sense for it. And that's going over here, just on the corner. And then we also have a couple of these little starburst stickers as well. And one of them has a single and one of them has 3. So this single one is going to go here more to the left. Just filling in and adding a little bit of extra color. I'm putting it just ever so slightly under our circle here that we cut. And the one with 3 is going over here. Again, just a little bit under our circle. Just so the very ends of the stems are under the circle. And you want to make sure again that it's on the page. Okay, now let's fix our bow. Find my microtip scissors here because I think our glue is pretty much dry here, but I'm still gonna use the microtip just in case. And let's go ahead and stick our bow down up here in the corner of our page. So that way I thought, it makes it look kind of like a present, I thought. Where did I put my glue? Over here. Let's get our glue pen out, our precision point adhesive, and we're going to run just a little bit here in the middle, and then just a little bit out from it. Now, when you put your page protector on, it is going to squash your bow a bit. So if you decide to use bows on a card, you know, you can put that on the top and it won't get squashed as much, especially if you don't put it in an envelope. But it will squash a little bit. It won't be quite as fluffy, but I think it's still okay. It still creates a unique element and effect for your page. All right, left side of our page is done. Here we go with our two borders and our circle, our lined paper. That is that one. Let's work on the right side. This one should come together a little bit quicker because we kind of know where we're going now, right? At least we think we do. A couple more elements here, a couple more stickers. And then I do have 3 of our 4x6 mats on this side, as well as our other 4.2-inch circle from our circle cutter with the green fan paper. Okay. This one is going all the way over here to the edge and over a bit. This one is coming in 3/4 of an inch down and about a 1/2 inch in. I had to write myself a couple of notes for this one to make sure I got it in the right place. And this one's also touching the bottom of our page. Not quite at the same exact angle. So coming in towards the other one a bit more. There we go. And our circle is here. About 1/4 of an inch up from the bottom of the page. All right. Now we can add our border stickers. And again, using the starburst one, I'm going to make sure the starburst is at the top and the flatter end is at the bottom. Here we go. Our candles are going to go across the top again. Okay. And then we have another one of these little star stickers, starburst on the sticks, if you will. I don't know if these are supposed to be sparklers or what, but they're kind of fun. That's going to go ahead right here. And finally, our green fan star is going to get a foam square on it. It's going to go over here on the right side, and we need our other bow here as well. So this is going over here. Our microtip scissors again. Let's get our other bow trimmed out. Just taking off that little bit of excess. It's just nice to have. It's easier to maneuver when you have a little bit too much paper than too little on these. That little wraparound piece. I think that's something I learned the first time showing the boat creator a lot. Here we go. Okay. And now this one is going to go up here in this corner as well. And I know it does go a little bit over our photo mat, but that's okay. The only place the glue is on here is just right at this center point on the very bottom of this bow. And when we do our photo, it'll be just, cut down just a hair, which will probably be like sky or, maybe at the top of, a background behind a person type thing. Okay, bone folder's going back up there a minute. Move my tape runners. Sketch number, what sketch are we on? 6 is done. Here we go. What do y'all think of this one? There it is, all together. It's kind of cute. I mean, it definitely, I don't know, it works. It has a little bit of fun. You don't have to have it for a birthday party. It could be for an anniversary or something, just whatever you're celebrating. Here's our sketch again. So I took a single page and made it a double page layout and made it where you could have an extra photo on the page on this side. Journal here, you can cut your, so now I did forget to mention you can cut your photos with your circle cutter as well. Just take and move that, here, let me show you. The white dial is how you unlock it. So that way you can move it to adjust your measurement. So you would just measure in a little bit more. So whereas I was at 4.2, now you can go even just a little bit under 4 or right at 4, lock it in again. So lefty loosey, righty tighty, and you got this. You got it. It's a very easy to use tool. Let me know if you have any questions while I get things switched over for sketch number 7 or any comments. Okay. Sketch number 7. Whoops. I did, and it's not one that was a part of the poll. Go figure. I went off script a little bit. But I think you all are going to like this. This is our Croptoberfest 2024 collection is what I'm going to be using with this one. I will hold up the sketch again. If you would like to screenshot it, you may. And this one was very linear. Move some of this out of the way so that way you all don't get too much of a peek, I guess. We are going to use our border stickers from our project recipe kit. And I did pull out 2 sheets of pumpkin cardstock. Well, actually, I only pulled out one because there was one already in the kit. But when I did my layout for, did I use the Croptoberfest for the last virtual crop, or was that with the sunflower challenge that I did recently? Well, whichever. I know I have used Croptoberfest 2024. I had some scraps, and so I wanted to use the truck, and you can see the backside of the truck is this burlap looking piece. And then I also pulled out the plaid paper. We're going to use the plaid side versus the orangey side of it. I just thought it kind of helps bring our colors together. I did cut the 4.25 by 6.25 mats from that. And then our border sticker is going to go across the bottom of our page. And I have a little note to self telling me to put down the border sticker first this time. So that's what I'm going to do. Getting this on the page first. Here we go. Border stickers down. So okay, this is going to go on the page this way. Let's go ahead and do this. And we are going to place this lightly coming from the right side of the page, just down towards the bottom here. There's about an inch here, maybe an inch and a quarter. And then our mat is going to be centered basically. So you're going to have a 1/4 inch above and below with this other mat. So this piece here was 3.5 inch by 6 inch scrap I had. I'm sorry, 3.5 inch by 12 inch scrap I had. I cut it in half at 6 inches. We're going to use it on both sides of the page. And so it gives us another use for a scrap and another potential photo mat. I'm going to go ahead and flip these over and stick them down. This one is going to be a quick one. We don't have a whole lot of training on this one or a whole lot of talking. We're just placing down mats, and this one is definitely one of the more linear sketches, kind of a little bit more traditional, I guess, if you will. I'm just going to place them down on the page. We're going to add a few stickers, and we are going to be done. but it's nice to see something else you can do with your Croptoberfest collection. So the stickers I pulled out are our banner and our special delivery along with the gold truck here. So the banner is going to go up here at the top of the page. And our special delivery is going to get a little bit of foam tape since it's a wider piece here. Grab my microtip scissors. I think I might have just knocked the camera, but let's see. Am I straight? Reasonably straight? Yep, I did knock it. Okay, sorry about that. Here we go. And pull that off over there. Push this down on here. Our special delivery is going at the very top here, right next to our banner. And I'll make sure it actually gets on the page here. Because again, you'll have a page protector to go over that. And then we're just going to run our truck through here, kind of over in between these three photo mats. There we go. That's it. Left side is done. How's about that? See our special delivery. Our little truck is overlaying all three mats, but just a very slight edge of them, maybe a 1/16 of an inch. And there's that other one I will talk about photo placement in just a moment. Let's get the right side done also. Oops, I knocked this one a little bit. Got more stickers to move, and we're basically doing the same thing with our mats on this side. Placing down our border sticker first. Okay, let's get tape runner on all of these. How many of y'all are excited about Croptoberfest? I know I am. Looking forward to it. I have a virtual event coming up on the 13th of October. If you're interested and you'd like to join me, go to my website, creativepageshub.com, and all the details are on there. Okay, this one we're placing the same way we did on the other side of the page. With the strip running through, hopefully I lined that up reasonably well. I probably should have brought in my other page just to make sure. Okay, Catherine, here we go. Nope, I'm just a little bit off. Let me fix that. Thought it looks a little bit crooked too, so let's just do this. Here we go. Okay. I don't think I really need, well, yep, we do need to move this one down a little bit too, don't we? Yep. Let's move that down just a hair. Okay. So now it matches our other side of our page. And here we go. This one is going this way. And after we put those other ones on the other page at such an angle, I'm like, okay, do I need to angle this or am I going to do this one straight? I'm doing these straight. All right. Well, let's add our stickers. We have a couple more banners that were part of our sticker sheet for our project recipe kit that are going to be going up here at the top of this other plaid mat that's on our page here. And we'll sync those up so it looks like they're running together. Oops. Did that one a little bit crooked. Let's sync it up. Here we go. Oops, maybe not. Oh, you would think I had glue still on my fingers, but I don't. There we go. Okay, synced up. There we go. Goodness gracious. That was harder than it needed to be. And then I also have our mustard colored truck that is going to be running through our page here. So it's going to overlay our map here just a hair. And we're going to put our pumpkins behind the back end of our truck. So I probably shouldn't have stuck that down so tightly, but here we go. Our truck is going to be carrying our produce. Creating this little bit of a cluster here. There we go. So behind the cab a little bit and then up and over there. Okay. Lo and behold, we are done with the sketch. So here's the right side of our page up close. There we go. What do y'all think? Let me know if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer anything. And I'll bring in the sketch here in just a moment. So there's our, with our Croptoberfest 2024, this is the project recipe kit. Just shown a slightly different way. Here's our sketch. You can see where we had the border going across the bottom. They recommended 2 photos here and 1 here, and a very large title. And so I just did a small title. I mean, they have for journaling, but I was looking at this after. So photo, photo, photo. And you can do a photo here. You can journal here on the burlap. Now, if you wind up placing a photo on the burlap, and again, don't be worried about coloring in the lines if you don't want to. If you want 2 horizontal photos here, go for it. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be tied into the mats. But you can journal here, or you can journal on the orange cardstock here or down here, depending on what your final photo placement is. So there you go. Cute, cute collection. All right. That's it for sketch number 7. Let's get into sketch number 8. Let me grab another quick drink of water too. Goodness. Time flies doing these 4 sketches at a time. All right, this one, we also have some vellum in as well, because this is Cue the Blue, right? Nope, Something Blue. Cue the Blue was another collection with blues. This is Something Blue. This one was our wedding collection that came out earlier this year, and you don't have to use it for wedding. You can use it for other events or things as well. Here is the sketch. Here are my writings, and we are going to look at our 0 centering ruler. That was something else that got voted on that people wanted to see. So I will talk about it through as we are doing this. Let me move this out of the way so you're all are getting a little bit of a peek of what's coming. Uh-oh, I'm losing papers. No. Okay. Take this apart, and take this off, because for my base, okay, this is something I've never done before, but we're going to do it. You all are going to have to let me know if you've done this before. I am kind of running on fumes with this collection with my designer paper pack. I mean, I have maybe 1 full sheet left, maybe 2, but I had a good chunk of vellum. So what we are going to do is we are going to use vellum on both sides for the base of our layout. So we have the darker blue vellum here. I have the lighter one that has the leaf florals in it. And then we have this designer paper that I did cut into strips. It's the one that has the light blue polka dots on the back side of it. These are 1.5 inch strips. This is a 4.5 inch piece of vellum. And we are going to place them just so, because on this sketch, when I looked at it, I was like, they have 3 inches, they have 4 inches, they have different, sizes and things. And I thought, well, sometimes I've done other ones where we've had strips of different colors and we've used the base. This one, I just wanted to highlight the vellum a little bit more. And so we're just adding the 1.5 inches of the designer paper, but we will have a larger piece going across, and you'll see that, which you might have already seen, in just a little bit. But yeah, 4.5 inches of vellum, and then we're also going to have a 4.5 inch piece of designer paper coming up as well. But first, let's get this vellum on the vellum. So we're sticking vellum to vellum, which is also something I don't think I've ever done before. And something y'all can let me know if you're an experienced scrapbooker. Have you done this before? pulling out my zero centering ruler. This is going to help me to center this piece of vellum onto this other piece of vellum. The reason it's called the zero centering ruler is that the zero is in the middle of the ruler. If you want to hear a lot more about the zero centering ruler, please find my Full of Wonder sketch with me as well. I used my ruler a lot in that one. So for this one, we need 2 1/4 on each side of the zero in order to center this piece. Whoa. Wow, it's okay. It's sticking already on me. There we go. There's 2 1/4. And then I'm going to just lightly push it. And then I'm also going to check the bottom because with this sketch, it's just very linear, I guess, if you will, is the best way to put it. So that is right at 2 1/4. Here's over just a little bit. Okay, the bottom got off center a little bit. So pull that over just a hair. Okay, here we go. So now I'm going to push down on this. And I'm going to grab my burnishing tool again, and we're just going to go over this real quick, get the tape to disappear. And again, like I said, I do have a video, but I don't think I knew as much about the burnishing at the time, so make sure to burnish your vellum tape runner. Okay, so because it does help everything to disappear more. Now we have 2 1.5-inch strips of designer paper here. I'm going to use my regular tape runner on, and we are going to place these how far over? 3/4 of an inch from the edge of our vellum. So again, I'm going to grab my ruler. We're going to go ahead and get these placed, and this is going to be, so the left edge is going to be 3/4 of an inch in from the edge of our paper. And I will check the bottom as well. I'm just trying to get the top stuck right now. Here it is. There's the end. There's that. Here's that. Okay. And now let me move my ruler to the bottom so I can make sure I have, yeah, I can already tell they're off a little bit. So let's get this. Oh, no. Okay. And it's sticking up at the top. So press down at the top a bit before, because my other end moved on me. This one needs to come over a little bit, but at least now I know I'm pressed down at the top. So it's not going to go over as much. Okay, then again, I'm going to press all the way down at the top. There we go. Come here. There's that. Okay, that is curling a little bit, but okay. Yep. Interesting. Okay. This one definitely needs to come back over a little bit here. And then I'm going to recheck the top here. Coming in. That moved. I apologize. I'm going to be crooked on the camera a minute here. There we go. Okay. So there we go. Vellum with vellum and designer paper. It's kind of different, huh? I really love it. It just really, just like I said, it's, sometimes when it comes together, it really comes together. So now I have the, this is a 4.5-inch by 12-inch piece of the gray tile paper. And this is the one with all the loves on the back of it. And you know what? We're going to be seeing this again on the other side of the paper, just like we're going to be seeing this blue floral on the other side of the paper. I did go with some repeating colors and papers through both of these pages, and I'm going to grab my ruler again. We're going to do a 1/2 inch. So for this one, you know, the zero centering ruler just acts like a ruler. But when I was trying to get my vellum centered, that's where having the zero in center really helps. Otherwise, I'm just counting up the 1/4 of an inch grid marks and making sure that I'm pretty much straight across the page here. Yep. A little bit down, but that's okay. I'm only ever so slightly off. But that's the base for our page here. And then we are going to add this mat that is a 4.5 by 6.5 inch mat. It's the blue tile look, I guess, if you will. It has the blue floral on the opposite side of it. I'm going to just go ahead and start putting some tape runner on this, and this is going to go through the kind of the middle of our page at an angle again. There we go. There's that one. And then I also pulled our Better Together embellishment. That's going to go down here. And then our gray square framed embellishment. This one is going to go down at the bottom of the page here, and it's going to kind of be our journal box. We actually are going to have two of these because there was a blue one, a light blue one as well, that just really worked for me to have a little bit of symmetry, I guess, if you will, through these pages. It's not, exact, but it worked for me. And then we also have a couple of stickers. We have our balloons and our camera here. So let me get this one stuck down. I think we're gonna foam square this one. Let's use the foam squares on this. Why not? We've got them. Let's use them. And we shall see how this works out. Like I said, sometimes making decisions on the fly works. I have one here that's cut in half, and I'm just going to go ahead and take part of it for this end here because we don't want it to sag at all because this B is a little bit separate. It's cut off the top of the embellishment or the whatever these are on. Are these on cardboard? Not on cardboard, but cardstock-ish. It's a thicker paper that our embellishments are done on usually. So let's line up the B with the edge of our line here. Get our balloons, and I am using the balloons with the darker balloon to the outside. The almost the navy color is going to the outside. Here's the camera. It's going to kind of look like it's our holding our balloons in place. Left side of our page is done. Yay! How's about that? Kind of fun. I mean, it's like I said, I've never done that with on the vellum like that. You can kind of see the opacity of it, but it really is quite striking in person. I hope the camera's picking it up well for you all. And now we're going to do a similar effect on this other side of the page. We have a couple different stickers, a couple different papers, but it's basically along the same lines, except for our base is a little different, and that gray tile we used on the opposite side is what we're using through our stripes, and the blue floral that we used for our stripes is now going to be our across the page. So this is our other vellum that we're going to use as our base. Again, like I said, I've had extra vellum, so I thought I might as well make use of it. I don't know if it's extra, but I mean, I had vellum and I didn't have as much designer, so that's what we're doing. Okay, put our tape runner in again, and this piece of vellum that I'm sticking onto the other piece of vellum is the one that has the kind of the hearts, and it really probably is supposed to run this direction, but I'm running it this direction because that's what I need, and it's what I had, so it's what I am working with. So I need to get my zero centering ruler again. We're going to go to 2 1/4 on either side of our 0 because this is a 4.5 inch piece of vellum. So there's 2 1/4 here. See if that straightened it out. Double check it on the bottom to make sure. 2 1/4 and 2 1/4. Yes. So you definitely are working on either side of that 0. Make it so easy to center our vellum here onto our other vellum. I'm going to burnish the tape again here real quick. And let's get our gray child stripes placed down. Okay, 3/4 of an inch from the edge of the paper again. So here we go. And there's that whole 3/4 is up here, right there. Oops. It's hard because sometimes my ruler slips on my table. And there's that. Okay, let me check it at the bottom. You know what? I think I'm going to try to make my life a little easier and just leave my finger here. We'll see if this is going to work out for me. I don't know. Like I said, sometimes things slip a little bit. There we go. That's straight. And side number 2 here, let's just go ahead and start at the bottom. And going from the edge, let me make sure my ruler's lined up first. Here we go. Leave that there. Leave my finger on it down here so that way I don't experience what we had on the other side. And that is pretty much right at 1/4. Okay, or 3/4. I'm sorry. All right. Well, so you can see where we're going now, and we have the blue floral to go across the bottom of our page again. And there we go. Okay, and we want this, I need my ruler again because we just need to be 1/2 inch up from the bottom of the page, which is right about here. Oops. And so now you can see I didn't necessarily need to bring in my other side of the page because I knew I was exactly 1/2 inch, whereas so often I eyeball things. Shall we check it? I'm going to go ahead and pull in the other side and check it just real quick. So whereas on our other pages, I usually just bring it in and eyeball it. Look at that, exactly 1/2 inch. Okay, we're in the home stretch now. Remember I said there was a light blue framed out box on the embellishment pack as well that went on the other side of the page. That's what's going to go over here on this side of our page. The gray went to the opposite side and the blue is on this side. Just bringing back in our colors again. Let's see, about 1/2 inch over. Okay. That's pretty good. And then we have another one of those 4.5 by 6.5 mats. This one has the gray tile look, whereas we use the light blue on the other side. This one has a darker navy floral wreath on the back of it. And now this one is going to go this way on this side. Through. How's about that? Seems reasonably well. Let's make sure I can actually fit my sticker on. I think I can. Okay. So we have our best day ever. Actually, this is what inspired this entire sketch for me, was this one sticker that said best day ever. You know, sometimes, I don't know about y'all, but I do struggle to find uses for some of these larger stickers and larger embellishments. And this one, it just brought in all the colors. I don't know, once I saw that and I saw the blue and the gray, I knew I was on the right track with putting this page together somehow. I don't know. And then we had another set of balloons with the navy balloon going to the outside again. Let me grab my multi-purpose tool here because I knew I didn't actually stick that down all the way, but we're still going to put this in and behind just a little bit so both of the ends of the strings are behind our easel here. And that is it. Wow. We're done with our sketch number 8. Is that right? Are we on sketch 8? Yes, we are. Oops. Would help if I put it on. Oh, I forgot to hold it up. Hang on, I'll hold up the side for you all so you can see the opacity of the vellum again as well. So it does, it just really kind of has a bit of an elegant look to the whole thing. You see on the back here as well. where you just gives it a completely different look. So here we are. Let me know your thoughts, how y'all like it. If anybody has any questions, here is our sketch. And you can see they definitely used much smaller. These, it says 4x4 photos, 3x4 photos. And I wanted to give you an option for a larger photo, kind of like what they have here. Rather than having the two smaller. But you know, one of the nice things about using larger mats is you can put two photos onto one mat. We can also fit in a photo here. We can fit in a small photo here. You can fit 1 to 2 here. And of course, you can fit your horizontal or your vertical photo through here, even just coming up off of our pieces a bit as well. So I hope this helps explain my thought process. These I'm thinking of journal boxing, but you know what? If you want to put a little teeny picture in there, go for it. This is about, how big are these things? It's 1 7/8. It looks like inside of that. So that would be a really small photo, but maybe like somebody's face. I don't know. It's piqued my interest. Now I may have to try it. So I don't know if I usually have ones I want to cut down that small, but you never know. We do have that new photo trimmer as well. So let me go ahead and get things switched back over here. I don't know if I can. Yes, I can. Okay. They switched what I'm seeing in my studio a little bit. So let me get myself back on camera here a moment. And thank you so much for joining me on this Sunday afternoon. I do appreciate it. I do need to get the last 4 sketches done still, and I'm not sure if I'll be on again before something like Thursday morning, is what I was kind of looking at on my calendar. But the best bet is to check my community tab to see when I post. I try to post a day ahead. Today I posted the day up, but I gave y'all fair warning yesterday in my live stream as well. So thanks for sticking with me. Y'all were a quiet group, but you know what? Maybe next time you'll say hi and it's okay. You can add a comment later. Let me know which one was your favorite sketch from today, or leave a thumbs up on the live stream for me.